what we're going to play with today is a Skinner blend, and this is what it looks like. This is on translucent Primo. That is the type of clay that I like to use, Sculpey Primo. So I'm going to show you in a second how I created this translucent Skinner blend. Hello, Cindy. Because the translucent is going to show the leaf that I'm going to put through the clay. So what I have here is, this is a sheet of copper simple sheets, which is our leafing product, and it actually comes in a set. So I just kind of wanted to show you the reason that we love this is because, like, look, here's a partial piece that I didn't use all of, but this stuff is stuck to a backing paper. And what happens is then you don't waste any of it, because when you have regular gold leaf that comes in these leaflets, it flies all over the place and you can't really reclaim it. It's pretty hard to reclaim the sheet. So these are stuck so that you can use all of it and it's not going to fly all over your room. That was gold. This is silver and another piece of the gold. See that? So as you use it up, you don't waste any of it and you don't have to start over with a whole new sheet. If you have a small area, they're called simple sheets. You can find them at Create Along. If you have a small area, you can just cover it up with like the piece that is left on your sheet. This is a variegated sheet. All of these come in your pack of simple sheets. Thank you guys for saying hi to me. Please leave me a little comment as you come on live so that I can see your comments. Okay, so this is the black variegated. These all come in the pack. See, there's a big pack of 14 sheets and you get 2 of each color. So I'm gonna play with the copper because I felt like that goes with what I'm doing. I'm gonna just put these over here and I'll explain to you. I'm gonna point my camera down in just a second. But the way I colored the translucent clay is with pearl inks. So these are pearl alcohol inks. This is the color Enchanted. It's kind of like a pretty coral pink color. And this color is called Tranquil. It is like a turquoise blue. And they have some pearlized mica powder in them. And they're alcohol inks by Ranger. So we already knew that the Ranger Adirondack inks work really well. And these are awesome, right? So they give you a little bit of sparkle and the color. And now I'm gonna go ahead, because I see there's a bunch more people on live, so I'm gonna go ahead and take my camera and point it at my work surface. First, I gotta flip it around. There we go. Okay, so here's my Skinner blended piece of clay I'm gonna be working with. This is the copper leaf I'm going to use. And this is an example here because I didn't want to do all this blending and mixing on my live because I have a motorized pasta machine and it's really loud. Plus doing a Skinner blend takes a little while and I didn't want to waste time by doing that. But basically, this is another one I've got going on and the colors are Intrigue, which is like that pinky magenta color, and Smolder, which is a sort of khaki silver. And I'm going to blend these together and we'll see what that looks like later, probably on Instagram. So if you're not following us on Instagram, we are at Polymer Clay TV on Instagram. And we do like short, quick how-tos and tutorials and little things on Instagram Reels that you don't want to miss. So come follow us there because I'm going to go ahead and blend this up and probably add maybe some silver leaf or one of those variegated colors to it later. But basically you fold this and just keep rolling it through the pasta machine until you end up with a blend that looks like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my camera up here. Excuse the wobble for a second. And maybe bring you down closer so you can see what I'm doing. There we go, that's better. Okay, so now that I have this, which basically was a blend that I stretched just a little bit. This is a number 2 on my Atlas Marcato 180 pasta machine. So that is how thin this is. And now I'm going to apply the simple sheets, and this is going to be super easy. I'm just going to flip this over, rub it onto the clay. And because your polymer clay is tacky, the leafing just, for the most part, sticks to it. Okay, sometimes you have to encourage it a little bit more, but we'll figure it out, right? So for the most part, we've got good coverage there. We'll come back and figure out this little spot. I'm gonna do this part here, and look how easy it is to line it up next to the other part so that you don't have seams. We just love this stuff. And my work surfaces here, I have 2 of them because I have like a IKEA desk that I work on. So this is an unglazed tile, which works pretty well for video because there's that reflection from all the lights that I have on. And then this is my We Are Memory Keepers mat, which is, you know, what everybody uses. So if you're new and you're not sure what work surface is best, that is one that you can get at the craft store, the We Are Memory Keepers mat. All right, so you see here I got some pieces that did break off, and that's great because I have some empty spaces here, so I'll just bring that over here and stick it on. I'm just trying to get mostly full coverage down like the middle of my strip because I'm going to roll it up. I'm going to make a jelly roll out of this. So one of the things that we're offering this week, and if you're not on our newsletter, you should come to Create Along right now and get on that newsletter. We have a tutorial that Elisa has done. It's amazing. It's kaleidoscope caning, and she is known for that. She has won multiple awards, including Best in Show for her cane work, and her technique makes really awesome looking, complex looking canes, but it's actually really easy. So her tutorial is on sale right now for pay what you can, which means if you have $0, it's free. If you have $1, it's $1. If you have $10, it's $10. If you are able to pay full price, which is $27, we would appreciate that, and will help offset, you know, for the people who are having less right now. So we just wanted to offer it so that more people could take this amazing tutorial because we just love it. It's so cool. It makes the coolest looking stuff. Elisa gave me a photo of a bunch of the cane ends that like she has in her hands so you can see what they look like, and I'll post that after the video. So just get on our newsletter if you want to learn where the link is for that. Okay, so now I have backed my sheet with the gold leaf. And what's gonna happen next? Yeah, don't you love the foil? It's awesome. What's gonna happen next? Oh, Elisa just posted the link to the tutorial in the comments, but you know, that's gonna get buried. So we will post it on our newsletter. So go ahead and get on there. Okay, so this is your clay. Now, I just want to say that if you're using leaf like this, you don't have to necessarily seal it afterwards. This is imitation leaf. If you were using, for example, real silver leaf, that can be very expensive. Silver and gold leaf come in like real metals, and they also tarnish. So these leaves that I'm using right now, they're not precious metal. They don't have to be sealed. They're not going to come off. If you're making earrings, you might want to seal them, but I can tell you right now, I never seal mine, and I have earrings that I've had for years and years and years, and the leaf isn't going to fall off. So that's up to you. All right, so now here we go. I think I'm going to put pink in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start rolling this up, and I'm going to capture the leaf inside of the clay. So I'm just going to start a little roll here. and just roll a nice tight jelly roll of clay. All right, and because I want to preserve the spiral, see how it's spiraling inside? I want to preserve that. I am not going to reduce this cane. I also don't like to have a ton of cane because I'm not really a caner. If you really love cane work and love to have a lot of cane, you can start with a bigger piece, okay? This is like half a bar of clay. That's enough for me to make several projects, and then I'll be done and on to the next idea. But if you like to make production work or you want to make something big, then you can start with a bigger piece of clay. That's just the only difference, because I'm not going to reduce this cane. I'm going to leave it just as it is, but I'm going to slice it. So the one thing I did sort of forget to do is roll out a piece to put my slices on. So because I'm using that color, the sort of pink and blues, I've got a scrap here, and I'm going to go ahead and just quickly roll out a base piece so that I have something to put my cane slices on. So also, again, if you are new to polymer clay or you're new to this technique, what I'm doing here is prepping a base for a veneer. And a veneer is just a sheet of something. I think I will most likely make a pair of earrings, so I don't need a lot. But I'm starting by rolling, and then I'm going to go to the pasta machine. And I'll just show you what that looks like over here. And I'm going to set it. All right, so what I did there is I just quickly conditioned it, which means just rolling it and getting it flexible, and rolled it to a number 3, which is fairly thin, but I'm going to be putting other clay on top of it, so it's not too thin. I don't want it to be massively chunky and thick when I'm done, so that's why I'm going to start with a base layer that's fairly thin. So I'm just going to put this over here, and I'm going to cut slices off of this at a slight angle, because after all, I want you to see that spiral of clay on the inside. So I'm gonna do it at like maybe a 45-degree angle. So you see there's a nice spiral in there. All right, and I have 2 blades. Let me show you what I have. So I have a flexible clay blade, and that is not the blade I'm going to use for cutting a cane. This is the type of blade that you would use if you were trying to cut a shape, or if you just wanted to grab a blade quickly and do some kind of cutting with it, okay? But this blade is actually a wallpaper blade, and it is rigid. It's hard to bend. And this is a better type of blade for cutting through a cane, okay? Because you generally want to get thin slices. So now this is all about practice. If you're not used to cutting canes, then you just have to practice this, because I'm going to take thin slices off of this spiral, and then I'm going to lay them on my background sheet. And you can see what's going to happen here is as I get closer to the middle, you will see the pink. And because I'm cutting it on a spiral like this, you're probably going to see that pink all the way through every slice. You're going to see the blue on the outside and the pink spiral on the inside. Now, the other thing that happens as you slice a cane is that it can get compressed in the direction that you sliced it. So with a cane like this, you kind of have to reposition it each time, or else I'm going to end up with like an oblong that's not very circular after a few slices. And I'm just gonna, I have to decide, I'm gonna lay them out for a second and not stick them on the background because I want to decide if I want to make a pattern or if I want them all to go the same direction. Let's just get a few slices and see. If you had something like a cane slicing tool, like, you know, Lucy makes a cane slicer that can do paper thin sheets, then that would help you get thinner slices. But really, with a nice stiff blade and some practice, you can do it yourself. And let me switch to my other side, because the other thing that happens is I've got a lot of lights on and it's hot. And canes get soft. See, I'm trying to give you some tips here. Canes get softer as you work with them under lights or in a hot room, and that compression and changing of the shape happens. So you can do things like refrigerate the cane before slicing it. Some people put them in the freezer. Definitely don't just sit here and slice, 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 because in the end you'll have something that's all squished and compressed and not the shape that you wanted it to be. And I'm not being like super precious about this. Some people like to be very precise and geometric, and I don't. So I'm okay with some of the slices being differently shaped and different thicknesses. I'm trying though to stay fairly thin. All right, let's see here. I think I might go like this with it. Like go sort of tile-y with it so that some of them are going in this direction and some of them are going across. And then I'll show you what happens as I have like extra pieces. I will have things I can rip off and use to fill in the spaces. See, like up here, there's a little extra at the top. So I can chop that off and use it over here in a corner or something. I probably don't want to have any of the purple showing in the end, so I'll mess around with that and fix it. And then I've got this one that didn't slice quite right, so that means I can stick it over here in this corner. And then I've got an end here that I can probably end up using on the side. See, so just keep all your slices around and you can fit them in as you make your veneer. Now, the other thing I wanted to tell you, as I'm saying the word veneer over and over, is that if you visit the featured pinned posts in the group, you will see that we have this year of veneer thing that we did. I think it was in 2020. Am I right about that, Elisa? It was 2019 or 2020. We did a veneer technique video every week for a year on YouTube. And those videos are all cataloged for you in a post in the featured area, so you can go watch them. I know we always have new people joining the group, and also another announcement for you if you missed my post about it. We are going to close the group down and make it private, and that I think is happening either tomorrow or the next day, because what Facebook makes you wait, they're like, are you sure you want to make it private? Yeah, Lisa says she thinks it's 2020 that we did the veneers, because Facebook, of course, likes to mess with people and do whatever they want. And one of the most wonderful things that they just did is they made public groups, which was the tribe was public. They made them so that just anyone can join and post whatever they want. You don't have to approve their membership or anything. And we ended up getting spam every single day. And it's super annoying, and I'm tired of dealing with people posting their silly viral videos trying to get you to watch, you know, terrible things. And we like to keep this group really, really clean and safe, and a safe and happy environment without all the politics and weird things that people want to post videos about. So we are going to shut down the group and make it private. And that means anything you post in here will only be posted in the group. You won't be able to share it out of the group, and you won't be able to share into the group either. So you'll have to come and be part of the group and direct post inside of the group. So that's how that's going to work. I'm just looking to see where I want to put these pieces here. We just feel like that's the best way to handle it, that the group is so big now, and there's a lot of admin to do when you're trying to keep spammers out of a big group. So we have been missing some of those posts where people are doing and saying ridiculous things, and we don't want that environment in here, so that's how it's going to be. Thank you, Facebook. Okay, so now I'm just going to fill in any extra spots because I want this to be a full sheet. Hey, Jan. And I'm just playing and having fun and just filling in these spaces now. This clay is all translucent, so in the end, I'm going to roll this out and we're going to kind of see through it and see the sparkle of the gold, see a little bit of the shimmer from the mica. It's going to be nice. Right. I'm just going to get another slice here to kind of cut up and piece around. Does anyone have any questions about what they see me doing while I'm just kind of doing busy work and finishing this up? Elisa's here too in the chat, so if you have a question, she'll see it and answer if she can. Just piecing things around, trying to kind of get rid of most of that background purple is what I'm doing. And like I said, I'm not having any thoughts about this being a perfect spiral when I'm done. I'm just gonna play and see how it looks. All right. Just a couple little pieces. Mostly I just don't want that glaring purple showing through in big chunks. And then I'm going to roll it and thin it out a little bit so that we can see more of what's actually happening. All right, so now I've got all of this, which, by the way, maybe I'll just do it with these little scrappy pieces over here. When you have something like this and you're finished with it and you have the ends, this is going to be beautiful, just kind of rolled up into beads. Yep, it is Primo clay. Okay, don't forget to say hello if you just popped on so that I can see your comments. This is Primo translucent. For anyone who just came in, let's just review. With some alcohol pearls inside of it. This one has these two colors, Enchanted and Tranquil, which is like the coral and the turquoise. And they've been jelly roll spiraled with some Simple Sheets copper leaf. So that's what we're playing with, just to give you some context of what's happening. But see this? This is just a bead with that inside of it, and it's really pretty. And then what you can do is grab your handy dandy bead pin and set that aside for baking. Okay, so you never waste when you have polymer clay. All of this, if I decide not to use it as a cane anymore, can be made into beads or just kind of smushed and rolled into something else. And if you don't like this, you can even just smush it and use it as the interior to something else. So that's why we love polymer clay. You never waste anything. This comes with our bead baking rack, a set of pins inside the container. Okay, so now I just want to pull this closer to me. So I'm going to use my flexible blade that we talked about before to pick this sheet up off of the tile because I've been pressing on it, so it's stuck. And it's not in a good spot. It's far away from me, so that's why it's taking me a second. All right, but you can swipe your blade underneath your clay and pick it up off your work surface. So now we have this, and I'm just gonna flatten it out a little bit. I'm gonna see and notice if there are any areas where I really still feel like I want to cover. And I have some clay on the outer edges here that I can do that with. Mostly on the interior of the design because the outer edges I probably won't use, but the inside pieces, I just don't want that purple to be like really showing. So that's the only place where I'm gonna be fussy with it. Ooh, and there, picked up some purple on top of my design. That's okay. All right, so now is when you get to make some decisions. Do I want to leave it like this? Do I want to run it through the pasta machine? My answer is going to be yes. I usually like to run things through the machine. So hold on to your hats for another second of loudness while I take it to the motorized machine. If you don't have a pasta machine, it is definitely a good investment. And if you use polymer clay a lot, the motorized machine is a great investment. I think that was just so thin that the purple showed. Okay, so just hang on just a second. Okay, now you can start to see what's happening here is that it's going to stretch that design and show some of those areas. And if I stretch it one more time, I will get even more of this metallic pattern showing through. And then if you cut it up into pieces and use it for, say, an earring or a pendant, or this is even big enough, if I stretch it just a little longer, it'll make a light switch plate. You could make cabinet knobs from it. Doing stuff with a veneer is always fun because you end up with a lot that you can use for various things. Hey, Melody. So does anyone have any questions? Because I think that my demonstration of what I wanted to show you how to do is done. So if you have questions, ask them, and if not, we will wrap up because I really actually don't like doing super long live videos because, you know, people are busy and I want you to get the information and then go play with it and have fun. All right, let me see. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and come back on screen. All right. Whew, I'm warm. Okay. So basically, let me show you, like, this is what we ended up with. And I will post some pictures in the tribe. And don't forget, get on our newsletter list, go through the comments. Elisa posted the link to the Pay What You Can tutorial. It's amazing. I'll post about it in the group. And if no one has any questions they need to ask, then I hope that you all have an awesome, awesome day. Yes, to stretch it out, you just make it thinner. Right now, this is a number 2 on my pasta machine, which is about as thin as I would go for like an earring. However, that's not to say that you can't stretch the pattern further, because what you could do is get another piece of clay, like how I did with the purple, put it behind here and stretch it way out and make it very thin. Okay, so that is how you would continue stretching your design. Just add more clay to the back of it and continue making it thinner. I might do that for the YouTube version of this, because it's just a lot to do, like all the rolling out of clay and stretching is kind of boring to watch live. But if I can, I'll continue filming and do that for YouTube, so you can come catch the rest of the demo on the YouTube channel. All right, have an awesome day, guys, and I will see you later. So now I want to stretch this further. I'm going to go ahead and back it with another piece of clay, and that is how you can continue making your veneers thinner and stretched out so that you can show more of the effects. So I've got some clay. This is a color I don't generally use. I'm just gonna roll it out and condition it. All right, so when you're gonna do that, here's generally what happens. I've got my backing clay set. This is on a number 1 on my pasta machine, which is the thickest, okay? This is in number 2. If I just slam these two together and roll it through my machine, there's gonna be a lot of stretching and I'm not gonna really be able to control it. So I'm going to make this a little bit thinner, and I'm gonna make the other sheet a number 3. I'm gonna take this down to a 2, this to a 3, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so now this is a 3, and this is a 2. And here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to line this up like so. The whole reason I'm doing this is just to continue stretching out my design so that you can see like more of that flash of the gold showing through the translucent and being part of that design. Now, I have an overlap here where it's hanging off the edge, so I'm just gonna cut this off and maybe set this to the side and use it as is, not reduce it anymore. Okay, and now I stretched my clay in this direction, okay? This is the direction it went through the pasta machine. And now I'm gonna put it through this way because it's gonna stretch it in this direction. I'm gonna start with the widest setting on my machine. Okay, and that is what I'm gonna get. Where it was a thinner rectangle before, now I'm gonna get a nice, I'm gonna end up with a square, because every time you pass it through the machine, it stretches, and now we're stretching it in the direction that's gonna make it more of a square shape. So that was at a number 0. Sorry, this is an Atlas 180, and 0 is the highest or thickest setting. So let's put it to a 1 and go again. And generally, I like my veneers to be a 2 on my machine, so this will be the last time I stretch it. All right, now let me flip this around for you. This is where we ended up. Now I've got all kinds of beautiful, flashy copper showing in my pattern. And after baking, that will be even more intense because the polymer clay changes just slightly in baking to be like more translucent, and it has more of a sheen to it. This is a really beautiful veneer, and I hope that you guys will try it. And go ahead to polymerclaytribe.com. That's our Polymer Clay Tribe Facebook group, and post your results. We want to see what you do with our tutorials.